Hey, everybody. Welcome to What Drives Us, episode 258 for January 3rd, 17. Oh, I think I screwed that up. It's 2018. 2018. It's a
new year.
Yay. Welcome to the first What Drives Us for 2018. And boy, are we excited. Look at the excited faces down there. Whatever. Down there, wherever those people are. And let me introduce you to them so that you can be excited, because I'm excited because they're here, and I like doing the show with these guys. First up, the man in red, our man in Canada, where of course it's a balmy minus something or another today, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Yep, a week plus, and minus 15 or colder. So we're looking for a break, but
that's minus 15 Canadian, right?
Yeah,
that's right. Minus 15 Celsius.
So what's that in American?
Celsius, it's ass cold.
It's cold no matter what side of the border you're on.
Exactly. And speaking of cold, he just fired up the coal furnace in his home studio so that he wouldn't have teeth chattering throughout the show. We like to call him Dr. Evan Fusco.
Yeah, so it's like, high of 16 Fahrenheit here today. So not quite Canadian weather, but chilly enough. And for whatever reason, my studio, I think I can call it that, is a little chilly. So
says the guy wearing a T-shirt.
Yeah, well, that's true. I am slightly underdressed. So, but is putting the wrong date on a podcast the 21st century version of putting the wrong date on a check? No, for the new year.
It is 2018.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Here, look, there it is.
Oh, okay.
Woohoo! See? None of that. I did just fine.
All right.
I did just fine. And speaking of doing just fine, he is our man in Boulder, Colorado, the technical expert. I like to call him Paul Guznick.
Hey, folks, and it was pleasant today in Boulder. It was above freezing, not a lot above, but it's sunny and 40-something, so not a bad day here. Of course, Russell's going to kick all our asses with his California day, but...
Do we have to do this on both shows now? Is that the deal? Do I have to, is it going to be because it's winter, it's a check-in?
Yeah.
Fine. Take that.
65.
Take that. 65 right now, and it's pitch dark out there. The sun's been down for a couple hours. It could be a beautiful evening. I'm going to sit bare feet on my patio later. That's the kind of asshole I am. And with that introduction, we have a fun show tonight. I think we have some good stuff.
You got a rant?
Oh, Paul, you know me so well. I got some rant calories to burn tonight. The first story up comes from the Philadelphia Inquirer. And this isn't a brand new story. We haven't done What Drives Us in a couple of weeks. But I really wanted to address this because I think it deserves addressing. There was a little pissing match on Twitter between Elon Musk, who some of you may have heard of. Elon has an electric car company that has a lot of fans, and apparently a lot of people care what he says. Elon had said some stuff about public transit that is arguably elitist, pretty ignorant, and for a guy who has a car company, arguably self-serving. Basically he said mass transit, quote, sucks. And that he prefers individualized transport because buses and trains are filled with, quote, a bunch of random strangers, one of whom might be a serial killer.
Are you sure it was Elon and not Trump that said that? Please.
This was Elon. And if that sounds maybe like somebody who's bathed in privilege for most of his life, well, if the shoe fits, as they say. Someone back, and by someone, a gentleman named Jarrett Walker, who is a bit of a legend in the mass transit community, has done some really good things across the U.S. Now works with SEPTA in Philadelphia. And Jarrett Walker said, quote, in a response to Elon, in cities, at Elon Musk's hatred of sharing space with strangers is a luxury, parenthetically, or pathology that only the rich can afford. Letting him design cities is the essence of elite projection. We talked a little bit about this during discussing Elon's Boring Company plans in LA, and opinions differ, but whatever. So Jarrett said that, and I don't really think that's. I guess it's a little personal, right? I guess saying that his attitude is a luxury or pathology. I guess that's a little personal. Yeah. Elon's response was simply, "You're an idiot." Jarrett Walker is anything but an idiot. So, needless to say, lots of people took to Walker's defense. Lots of people took to Musk's defense.
So an all-out Twitter war.
Yeah, I don't know that it really, I don't really know that it made any difference. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it matters in a sense. But I do think that the reason I wanted to talk about this is I said 3 weeks ago, before this all happened, that Elon's plan did seem elitist. It did seem privileged. It did seem like it was something that benefited Elon first, and maybe everybody else sort of kind of who happened to live along the magic routes that Elon had designated. It wasn't so much a great basis of a plan for moving lots of people around a major metropolitan city. Again, you don't have to agree with me on that, but I do think that it's interesting that this exchange came up almost immediately after that, and didn't work out so well. No one wants to take me to task?
Well, I mean, my opinion, of them will disappear, and there might be minibus, autonomous 6-8 passenger minivans or something running around moving people that would be more economical than 50 passenger buses driving around. That won't solve subway issues or replace subways, but for street traffic, I think autonomous minibuses with no labor costs could be the future. That's my personal opinion.
But that's going to mean that serial killer is still going to be out there on one of your buses.
You have a 1 in 6 chance of being with a serial killer instead of 1 in 50. But
I want to be on I want to be on the train where I've got like a 1 in 300 chance.
Yeah.
I mean, what if it's a really efficient serial killer and they take out like 20 people? If I'm on a minibus, I'm done. I'm over because, it's California. I'm not traveling on.
And of all the mass shootings, when was the last time one was on transit?
On transit? Yeah. I got nothing.
I got nothing.
Then again, there was one at a country concert not that long ago. So let's not. Fair enough. Nothing from you. Come on, Evan. I expected some.
No, look. I mean, that's Trump-esque at its worst.
It's Trump-esque. Yes.
I mean, you just can't say shit like that. I mean, you just can't. And
no, he put his foot in his mouth, didn't he?
Yeah.
Wait. I'm sorry. I just want to be clear because I'm applauding you for what I see is an enlightened opinion, but I'm thinking you said you just can't say shit like that. Does that mean you can't think things like that?
Well,
or that it's just stupid to say it out loud?
It's particularly stupid to say it out loud, even if you think it.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, like, I can't control what people think, but
no.
I would like to think that he's a smart enough man to know that you can't say shit like that out loud.
Yeah.
Tweet it or whatever we call it these days.
I think it's the naked self-interest that really sticks in my craw on this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, wow. I mean, I don't know that mass transit's going to hurt his company, but there's a competitive element there, right? I mean, car companies in the beginning of the 20th century killed mass transit in lots of cities because they were concerned that people wouldn't buy their product.
But here's the crazy thing. This guy and his ideas and dreams and different products he's thinking, they could aid mass transit. Mass transit could be a purchaser of what he is doing as well.
Absolutely.
Like the Hyperloop,
the last miles.
Yeah, like it's there's no reason to state what he did at all. Like, there's nothing. I can't think of any reason to do it. I don't know how he expected it to turn out, but anything but bad.
Yeah. So let me challenge you on one thing though. Is why what are you saying self-interest? I mean, because my sense of Elon is he whether we agree with it or not, he genuinely believes that what he's doing is the best thing.
Yes, I wouldn't argue that.
And whether that be for financial gain or otherwise. So I guess I don't really like hanging the self-interest, but that implies that he's doing it only for monetary gain or something to me. So I guess I don't really like hanging that on it necessarily, but certainly it shows a lack of open-mindedness and understanding of the bigger world, the wider world.
Thank you. And fair enough.
And maybe he's never lived in a metro area where transit actually works and people use it all the time.
Right.
San Francisco.
Yeah. Chicago, New York,
London, anywhere in Europe.
I mean, this is a person who's well-traveled, but I get it. He's also a person that has been wealthy most of his life and doesn't, I don't see Elon on BART, going, wow, this is cool. I can go under the bay in 10 minutes for $2. Yeah, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, probably not.
Yeah.
Let me continue the Elon ass bashing here.
Why quit now?
Because I've got another topic, and this comes from a site that I'm going to plug. Let me put them on the screen because I love this site, and I don't want to get into the politics of it, but this is a person who has a PhD in economics. He's a very smart guy, and I think he's a very smart guy. I've read him and communicated with him for many years. It's a site called Eschaton, and Duncan Black is the author. And one of his things is autonomous driving. He's not a big believer in autonomous driving. And I think he makes some really good points. I think sometimes he takes it a little too far, but I think he makes some really good points. And one of the things that he made a recent point about was Elon Musk. Elon Musk tweet says in about 2 years, Summon should work anywhere connected by land and not blocked by borders. Example given, you're in LA and your car is in New York.
But he's got a week left to do it.
And Duncan's headline here is, I'm not sure at what point vaporware becomes consumer and investor fraud, and I think this is a point that, again, is Elon's exceptionally weak on and vulnerable on. On things like autopilot. So, Evan, I want to ask you, as a Tesla owner, I mean, do you feel like Summon works the way that it should? Did you buy either of your vehicles? Is the Model S even have Summon, or is that just on
my S does not, the X does. We use it more for party tricks than anything real. I think once or twice we've had some particular asshole park a little bit too close to really be able to comfortably get in and out, and have been able to back it out of a spot in a parking garage to more conveniently get in and out. So that, as far as that goes, it works. It certainly won't summon from LA to New York, though.
And the links on the Eschaton page were to a Top Gear News. God knows why. A Top Gear News story where they talk about how awesome it is that Summon is going to work, and you're going to be able to bring your car from blah blah blah, and all of this. And then there's a discussion on the Tesla Motors Club about basically it's a thread of Summon bad stories.
Summon failures.
Summon failures. Yeah, there we go. Summon #fail. And again, I don't feel like I have enough of a handle on what owners think, but I'm going to go to Evan because I know you participate. I mean, do you feel like, is Summon not a feature that Elon should be talking about?
Well, I guess again, I'd go, he shouldn't be talking about it driving across country, but I mean, as far as it goes, I think it usually works. Now, again, we use it as a party trick more than as a routine thing. So I don't know. It's
Right.
cool that it can do it.
But once again, Elon's mouth's writing checks that his company can cash.
Exactly.
And I hate that because I love his company. You know what I mean? I like his products. I just wish he could shut up a little more.
So he's always in the oversell mode.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to get called on it. Like one of the quotes was like, "Is this investor fraud?" I mean, if the CEO of any other big company got up and said, "We're going to do this," and routinely missed their goals, they'd get slammed.
Yeah.
But he gets away with it, you know. So
Yeah,
good for him.
Mary Barra, she's getting raked in the press for saying almost 2 years ago that Summon's going to work anywhere, and then Summon doesn't really work anywhere. Doesn't really very well work under a great deal of circumstances. I don't really have. I don't feel like I'm picking on Elon Musk in any way, shape, or form. But I don't know how much more I need to go to plug this. Anyone else have an insight here?
There's definitely a difference between Elon Musk and another automotive CEO. There is a big difference as to how he handles himself and how he's treated by the press.
And what he can get away with.
Yeah, I agree. And it's probably because he's come out with so many things that people thought were near impossible anyways, and some of those items have come through and worked. And people sit back and go, you know what? When he says that's possible. You know, he said he was coming out with an electric car. He said he was coming out with a Model S. He said he was coming out with a car that will be in the midstream for $35,000. A lot of people said there's no way that was going to happen.
Be ludicrously fast.
Exactly. So he has come through on a number of things, and now whenever Elon says something like, you know what, I'm going to put my Roadster on a spaceship, we don't know whether to believe him or not. And it's shocking. It is.
Well, that's because someone on Mars summoned the Roadster to Mars.
Good one. Yes.
Nice.
But I think that's part of the reason is that he's come out with so many things that have been outlandish to the normal populace, and he's actually landed a number of these things.
Yeah.
Well, I come from the perspective of being a fan, cheering him on, wanting him to succeed, wanting Tesla to succeed, because I believe in the mission and I believe in the product. But I want him to be I want him to be just as big a cheerleader as he is, but maybe a more rational one. And I don't want him to sell things based on promises that he's not keeping. You know, whether it's Autopilot or Summon.
Yeah.
Just to name two big things that he hasn't delivered on but collected money for. That's not fraud. Okay. Let's talk about, I'm not a lawyer. I don't represent one. I don't play one on YouTube, so I have no idea. Let's talk about something that probably won't get me sued. Green Car Reports, our friend John Volker at Green Car Reports wrote a story, as a matter of fact, today, talking about how strong electric car sales were in December. And in 2017, 2017 itself sets a new record, which is good. Again, gas prices are still fairly low throughout most of the country, and yet we still seem to be able to sell these darn electric cars that nobody wants.
I think the figures in December were artificially high, though, because a lot of people pulled the trigger because of the uncertainty of the tax rebates sticking around for 2018.
Yeah, there's so much back and forth on that. No one knew if they were going to be there or not.
Yeah, so a lot of people who may have waited another year or two to buy an EV said, I'm going to buy one now while I can still get the $7,500. And that I'm sure had some impact.
I wouldn't argue with you. I think I think you're right, Paul.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So let's see how they do in January.
Yeah, well, I mean, and arguably January, maybe not the hottest car sales month of the year. I don't know, but
yeah, even with the traditional tax break, January was really low because people don't tend to think ahead. They tend to think that I get the tax credit closer to tax time, which is the end of the year.
Yeah, because if you buy a car this month, you're going to have 15 months before you get the money back, where if you bought it a week ago, you get your money back in 4 months or 3 months. So that affects people.
Absolutely.
So I kind of wonder also, this shows how I watch too much TV, I guess, but, Chevy had their employee discount thing pretty much all month long. And I have to tell you, I mean, it made me wonder, God, how much off of a Bolt would that be, if I could get my hands on one? Is that, between that and the tax credit, is that going to bring that car down to a price that's too good to pass up? And I chose not to explore it, but I do wonder if that might have had an impact as well.
Yeah. I was shocked when we did the Tesla Life just a mere hour and a half ago. We had a special guest on, Dennis Pascal. Is it? Dennis Pascal. He just got his third Tesla, a brand new Model 3. And that was why we had him on the show. And he very openly talked about, if I was going to buy another car, I'd go buy a Bolt. I don't think that was what he said exactly. I'm paraphrasing, but
for his mother.
For his mother, yeah. And because of some specific things, but still, I mean, for someone who's that deep into Tesla, that's a hell of a thing to say. And I think it's a testament to the Bolt, which is really where I was going with that. Not saying anything bad about Tesla. The Bolt has been a surprisingly great car.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the Volt.
And the Volt, of course.
The Volt especially, yeah.
Well, actually, the Volt's crap. Nobody.
Only idiots would buy a Volt.
Wait, is Mark on this call?
Oh, sorry.
Apparently so. Yes, indeed. Thanks, guys. Well, that kind of leads into my story, which of course is Bolt sales in December. That was set a new record of 3,227, topping the old amount of last month of 2,987. Over the entire year, they've sold about 23,000, a little bit more than 23,000 Bolts altogether. And my favorite, the Volt, I don't know why, but that car has been slipping a little bit. December, it sold 1,937 units, a little bit down from its previous year, and it's been slipping pretty well the last half of the year. But what's kind of cool, and people don't realize this, is that the Bolt EV may be taking some sales from Volts, but as a company, GM has pushed out 5,164 plug-in units this month. So you know what? If you've made a better mousetrap and you're still selling the cars, does it matter what column it's coming from? Probably not. It results in the end that we've got more plugins on the road and more choice, and I think that's a good thing all the way around.
The wider acceptance is very encouraging.
Yeah.
So, and of course, through this year, there has been discussion that the Bolt EV has been limited in quantities in some places. Other places, it's more plentiful. The goal or the thought was that there would be 30,000 units sold this year, but as we roll into 2018, I think that the Orion plant, where it's made in Michigan, is going to start to push them out a little bit more. So I think 2018, we're going to see more of them on the road and more of them available. So yeah, I think
and when did
GM
the
is
Bolt
pushing
actually,
this.
Was it available all of 17 or just
Limited states all of 2017. It didn't get to full country until about, I believe it was June, that it got released across the country in all regions. Okay. So it's certainly growing, and as mentioned in the previous show, it's got some great numbers. People like it. It's dependable. It's got the real mileage that it states it has, and it's now available in all states and all provinces here in Canada.
Those Prius Prime numbers too.
Gotta
That's
love
pretty
that.
nice.
I mean, really strong numbers for a lot of cars.
Yeah, and I sure hope Toyota's seeing that.
Well,
That's questionable.
all I'm hoping is they're seeing the Bolt and the Model S and the Tesla sales. That's what I want them to see. And I think once Leaf gets out there,
Yeah, that's going to be big.
Leaf, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. There's things about Leaf that I'm not so sure about. You know what I mean? Like
The price is going to sell that car.
Yeah, you might be right.
It is a lower entry to get into it, and people are looking at it saying, "Oh, well, I know it's not 220 miles, but it is going to give me 150 or 160, and that's enough for what I do."
Right, and there's a lot of people that were the old Leaf was just a little shy of what they needed.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like in the winter, to get from Boulder to Denver Airport and back on one charge in an old Leaf is challenging. And with the new Leaf, it's a non-issue. So certain people's driving requirements, that will be a game changer.
And then you hear those stories about what's going on in Europe where they have, they got 10,000 reservations in the first month. And I think as they're rolling them out of Tennessee, that same kind of thing is going to happen in North America. There's going to be a rush, and they start showing up in dealerships, I believe, at the end of this month. So it's going to start making a dent in this chart pretty soon.
You know the staggering thing on this chart? Did you see the Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid?
Yeah.
720 units last month?
Yep.
I thought they didn't have any.
I'm looking at the sales. Like it's been 425 in August, 475 in September, 875 in October, 570. I mean, obviously they're shipping it again. You can see
Right.
weren't shipping it. Obviously they've addressed whatever issue it was that made them take it off the market, and they're back to it. And guess what? People want even a small range plug-in hybrid van. Go figure.
Yep.
That to me is one of the best signs on this, is that people were willing to kind of go out and, it's not a cheap vehicle either. It's a big deluxe, plug-in hybrid.
Yeah, it's certainly top of the line price-wise in that category. But another interesting thing is that since some of the rebates are so much on the vehicle, it brings it down actually lower than the cost of the loaded gas vehicle. So you get to get into a plug-in vehicle at a lower cost.
Crazy. I'm still amazed at how many Fords.
And maybe one of these days the Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in will
Well, actually, it's funny you should mention that, Paul, because there was a few stories this week about the Mitsubishi appearing. So apparently you can now order it on the U.S. website, which is a step up from what it's been able to do to this point. So we're hoping that, maybe it'll show up in January on this chart.
It says 99 Outlander PHEV sold.
There you go. So the flood has started.
I have no idea. Where did they go? Does anybody? I've heard nothing about this.
Well, there's 100,000 people waiting for it, so I'm sure those 99 were snapped up real quick.
Yeah.
I have to say, the Hyundai Ioniq EV, the numbers are dismal. And I just finished driving this car a couple weeks ago, and it's not that bad. It's not great, but it's not that bad by any means. I don't know.
You know what that's probably attributed to, though, is that the Ioniq is the battery pack is not as big as people would like it to be. It's kind of like in that first generation Leaf category, where it's just not quite there.
But people bought a lot of Leafs. So you think it's competition? There's
people bought a lot of Leafs a number of years ago. You're right.
Right. That's all I got. I don't know. There's a bigger thing. I was really disappointed in Ioniq in some ways, driving it, but it's not that bad. It's not 28, 30, pieces a month.
Yeah.
That's awful.
And then, of course, they have made the notification that they're going to come out with a larger battery. So you may have people that are just kind of waiting and going, Well, I'm going to wait the extra 6 months and get the one that has the larger battery.
They just kind of screwed themselves. Is that what
Yeah. You don't announce that kind of thing and then expect sales to take off.
Right. Well, speaking of things maybe you shouldn't announce, there was an article by Lawrence Ulrich on The Drive, which is the car news site edited, I believe, by our friend Alex Roy. And we'll have a little bit more to talk about him in just a few minutes. But Mr. Ulrich basically floated this idea, and I'll read the headline because, in fact, let's show the headline while I read it, because seeing it and hearing it, sometimes that's extra special. Tesla Model 3 buyers will flee faster than electrons when electric vehicle tax breaks end. Mr. Ulrich is claiming that there could be potentially $200 million in refunds, at least 200,000 Model 3 depositors when EV dreams meet price hike reality. We've talked a little bit about this, but when there was still a lot of uncertainty, when we didn't know that the EV credit was in the tax bill. And I'm still with the way I felt back then, which is I don't see that happening, not for that reason alone, at least. If the tax credit had gone away, if given the competition and other things, then maybe other vehicles would start being more appealing. But the idea that, like, I'm not going to get $7,500, so I'm not going to buy this $60,000 car, that seems incredibly clueless to me.
In certainly in that market, you're correct. I don't think anyone that's looking to purchase an S or an X is really concerned or is teetering upon the decision of a $7,500 federal tax cut. I don't see that. I would agree.
What about the 3 though? So if you've got the Bolt with still getting the 7,500 tax credit, relatively equivalent range, decent performance.
I think it becomes certainly more of a question at that range of price than it does in the higher amounts, for sure.
Yeah.
And what happens with a Leaf? What happens with a Golf? What happens with a Volt? Do people look at that and say, you know what, it's now playing into? That's a possibility. That when you get into a lower price car, the $7,500 makes more and more a dent in what you're paying,
right,
as the price of the car goes down.
Yeah.
And you may have people that would typically not even look at or thought about it because they know they can get that rebate and get it to a price that's very close or even lower than a regular gas car. So that type of a person, it's going to start to affect it.
Yeah, being a rich elitist and all, I don't really know how to interpret. I'm not really sure what to think about this. I don't know what to think. For my personal car buying budget before I bought my S, the Model 3 without the tax credit was very much at the top of my budget. And then you put a bigger battery and you get some premium features, and all of a sudden it's way out of what my top of my budget was. And you line it up side by side and you start saying, is it worth an extra $20,000 for me to have that T on the front of it? Or can I deal with having a bow tie?
Yeah.
It's an interesting question. I don't know. I don't know if he's right or wrong. I don't think he knows if he's right or wrong. But it'll be interesting. I mean, look, they put a 200,000 number on there, hoping that at that point there would be wide EV acceptance. And we're looking at that list of auto sales in December, and it's very optimistic, right? I mean, there's wider acceptance from more car manufacturers of pure battery electric vehicles as well as other plug-ins, and maybe the tax credit's going to accomplish what it was intended to accomplish, and that is gaining foothold in the mainstream this will all be behind us one day, and nobody will think about that tax credit piece again. But I don't know.
And as you know, Evan, like Tesla and Chevy, they're coming up to the end of that 200,000 amount pretty quickly. So they are going to be the first ones that start to wade into the waters that there is no tax credit for their vehicles because they've used their 200,000 up.
Yeah.
So I guess as an industry as a whole, we were about to dive into it, and everyone was going to be affected immediately. That might have been better than to just take one or two out of it and saying that they now have to forge ahead without it just themselves, but yet their other dealers or other manufacturers that didn't get involved with it earlier now still get to keep that credit.
Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe they should have put just like a 500,000 total EV sales.
Whoever gets there first gets to collect the credit.
Yeah. To create a little incentive, because you're right. Now, all of a sudden Toyota's theoretically going to be able to jump into this market once Tesla and Chevy have shot their wad, so to speak, and be able to come in and undercut them with a decent performing vehicle and sell a couple 100,000 in a short period of time to get back in the market pretty quickly.
And I know that in the situation here in Ontario, we have a credit ourselves, and I know that without that credit, I wouldn't have bought my Volt. I wouldn't have. I would have looked at getting a used one because I was already converted from my first one. I knew that I would want another, but I would have probably waited into the used market instead of buying a new one without the credit that was available to me. But I also look at it on the side that if the credit doesn't go away, how are manufacturers ever going to compete on price and start to lower the cost themselves when they know that there's this big fat credit that the consumer gets and they have no interest in touching their retail price at all or offering sales or anything else because they know the consumer gets this huge amount?
Yeah.
I mean, they'll be forced to either discount their price or pray for gas going back to $4 a gallon.
Right.
I was away for a few minutes, but did you guys talk about what happened in Tennessee when the state credits went away?
No.
Like sales tanked. I mean, they went from hundreds and hundreds.
What was that amount, Paul?
I forget, but it was like real obvious.
Wasn't it like over $10,000?
Wasn't that high, but it
No, like wasn't it with the federal and the state, Georgia one? It was like $12,000 or something.
Between 10 and 12, I believe.
Wow.
Okay.
Once they took away the state, the sales dropped like 95%.
Yeah. Well, I remember news stories going on about how you could pick up a Leaf basically for the car was free. With the amount of gas money that you spent on your previous car, the lease was free.
Yeah.
Were we talking about Georgia or Tennessee?
Georgia.
Thank you. Sorry.
Or maybe, sorry.
No, that's fine.
Tennessee's where they make the Leaf.
Tennessee's where they make the Leaf. Yes, I just wanted to be sure.
Yes, Georgia was where the
place. Yes,
evaporated.
Plummeted. I'm trying to look up what those rebates were because they were.
Yes. It was a Georgia state credit, and that combined
$1,500. Holy moly! Yeah, stakeholders are eligible for a $10,000 rebate. Yeah. Plus the 7,500 Fed. Wow.
So that was 1750.
Well, we still have in Colorado. You get $5,000 from the state on top of the federal. So
yeah.
Anything that plugs in.
Well.
Wow.
Except a motorcycle, Russell.
But I live in California, where it's 74 degrees. By the way.
Hey, you moved once. You can move again.
Back it up. Move to a state with a decent.
Move to a state, buy a car, move out of that state.
That's right.
Loser.
Just have to file taxes for 1 year.
Move in December, move in January.
Well, what's interesting is we'll mention in Colorado, there's no clawback. Like if you buy a car this year, take the rebate, sell it, next year buy another one. It doesn't say you can do it once per lifetime or once every 4 years. I understand in California, if you buy an EV, take the credit, and sell it within 3 years, the state can come back and take some of that rebate back from you. So you have to hang on to the car.
Really?
So,
yeah.
So that's cold, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't want people just flipping cars to make money off the other taxpayers.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. Flippers make me angry. So yeah, no question there. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Sorry, my it wasn't letting me do what I wanted to do. So our next story is a friend of the show. He's been on the show before, and I've been trying to get him to come on. I hope once he publishes his article about this, he will come on and talk with us personally. Mr. Alex Roy of Cannonball Run fame. Well, I'll just show you the picture. He posted this picture. And this is a picture of him doing the reverse Cannonball Run from Redondo Beach, Florida to New York City in a brand new Model 3 with owner Daniel Zorilla.
88 miles an hour and a nice radar detector.
88 miles an hour. There's a radar detector. It's obviously set at 90. The cruise control. There's a wealth of information. When we went over this in the test show, this screen is just... I mean, cheers to Alex for posting such a wonderful photograph.
Do you think the speed limit in Arizona is 90?
On the 40?
Actually, if you look at the picture, it shows the speed limit is 75 in the zone is there.
I wonder if you'll just get a ticket in the mail.
I hope not. I wanted to say, so this is really just sort of a teaser for the coming story. There was a little time-lapse video, but Alex and Daniel did the drive 2,860 miles. They did the drive in 50 hours, 16 minutes, 32 seconds. That's a new electric Cannonball Run record.
That's great.
Yeah, and it cost
and that includes charging, too.
It includes everything, yeah. It cost them $100.95 to charge the vehicle to drive 2,860 miles. Now,
because a Model 3 you have to pay.
You have to pay.
That's right.
So that's even that's ridiculously low.
Yeah.
Okay, I just drove to Fresno and back, and I paid about $60 in gas. So, sorry, amazing. Just amazing stuff, and we look forward to hopefully having, like I said, Alex on the show so that we can talk more about that. Evan, when your Model 3 comes, can we do that? You and me, buddy. No sleep, no shower, man. Just drive. You know?
Maybe. So doing the math on that, they're about 57 miles per hour average speed with charging.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, needless to say, Alex is a professional. He's done this in gas cars. He's done this in three-wheel cars. He's done this in electric cars.
And where's the actual endpoint? It's not in New York City, is it?
It
is.
Garage in New York City. Yes.
Wow. Because just getting from Jersey to New York City can take 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, it's probably because they're going through there at 2 a.m., right?
Yeah, they'd have to.
I would guess again that Alex is probably has this amazingly well detailed plan that factors in everything.
Right.
And yeah, again, how you plan to arrive in New York City at the end of an almost 3,000 mile drive, right? So you're not arriving during rush hour.
Right. Exactly.
10% to your.
You'd have to arrive at 3 a.m. to get.
Right.
Absolutely, you would. Yeah, and they're going through Harrisburg. I know that road going up through the Jersey Turnpike. It's a horrible road. It's terrible. It's not even the back way to New York.
So you and Evan plan for that, all right?
Yeah. Well, they're going to start in New York and in California.
No, I mean we're gonna start in Missouri. We're gonna go to New York and then drive to LA. It'll be like a run and a half.
I could get that kind of time off. That would be a kick.
Let me talk to your boss. I'll set it up. Dude, this is really important, okay? I don't. That's probably not going to convince him or her, is it?
No, probably not.
There goes my dream of spending 4 days in a row in a car with Evan Fusco.
Yeah.
One more bucket list item I'll never realize.
Anyway, yeah, we enjoyed talking about that screen. There's a lot of juicy information in that screen. It was
Anything
fun.
else you want to,
No, we talked.
No,
about
we got to get Alex on the show. That's for sure.
Yeah. I'm showing more of it.
And maybe even his cohort who allowed Alex to convince him to drive his brand new 3 across the country.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see what Dan's opinion of it was.
right, at 90 miles an hour.
Yes.
3,000 miles.
I could see the light coming on as Dan sat in the car and they're zipping through Arizona. He's going, I didn't sign up for this.
Remember those days when you got a new car and they told you not to go over 55 miles an hour for the
To
first
break it
1,000
in.
miles?
Yeah.
And I'm going back to like the no shower for 2 days. I'm just like,
fun.
you're probably eating like MREs or something that are in the back seat that Alex has stocked, knowing that he's not going to stop at a drive-through.
Yeah.
So, well, that's all I got this week. Mark, by any chance, do you have one more thing?
I do. How about that?
I'd
You
actually
never would have guessed that, would you?
I know, it's so unlike you.
I hit a great new milestone I thought I'd share with the cast.
God.
Today, my car finally ran out of gas at 19,304 kilometers.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So that works out to, for you Americans, that's about 12,000 miles on one 9-liter tank of dealer gas that I have had since April of last year.
That is insane.
So hold on. So you haven't now any of your own money into the gas tank?
I have not spent a penny on fuel in 2017.
Wow. So that was the dealer gives you when you buy the new car.
That is correct. Yeah. So they paid me to
That's
drive.
impressive. So why don't they have like you on the Real People commercial?
I don't know. I'm available
instead
if
of
you're
those.
listening.
Available, and I'll sell my.
But-
If anyone
that
in
was the
Chevy
GM
Canada or Chevy US is listening, I am available to tell the story.
But hold on, that's kilometers. So what's that in miles again?
12,000 miles.
Wow.
All right, that's still pretty damn good.
And Mark,
What's your longest trip from home that you went on in that time period?
In that period, I think the longest trip was about 165 miles.
Okay.
Now, I had this, wherever I was going, destination, I found a place to charge, and while I was doing my thing, I charged the car.
Right. Is that using PlugShare or some other site?
That's just using PlugShare. Yeah. Basically, that's the only thing I use is PlugShare.
and does that mean you're not paying to charge?
I have paid to charge in the past, but most charging infrastructure at L2 here in Ontario is free.
It's free. Okay.
Most of it is.
And just so we have a little more context on this, you're not one of those guys that never drives over 20 miles an hour.
No, I'm not a slow poke. Although I do keep to a lot of 50-mile-an-hour roads as opposed to the highway. Of course, the efficiency of your car does drop the faster you go. It's a well-known fact. Same with a regular gas combustion vehicle. But I've been able to push this car to get somewhere between 75 and 80 miles per charge in the summer and spring and fall.
Wow.
In the winter, I get dramatically less because I'm using some cabin heat, and it's taking from the battery that way. And again, I'm a seasoned driver. This is my second Volt, so I kind of knew what the first generation was capable of, and I knew the second generation I'd be able to do something great with it. And I have tried to get this. This hasn't been just every day I just plug in, and I've actually tried to get. My goal was 20,000,
Right.
but I didn't quite get there.
Yeah.
And what's your round trip commute, Mark?
My round commute is fairly small. It's only about a total of 12 miles.
Okay.
So would you have made the 20,000 if not for the -15 temps? Were you running the engine a lot more with that?
Yeah, if you lived in like a normal place.
Yes.
If I lived in a normal place, I probably would have made the 20,000. Yes. But
They've got
as you can
job openings at the Gigafactory.
yeah, that's right. So you can see my salt lick car here is pretty dirty, and it's been so cold. Of course, you can't wash anything because it would instantly turn to an ice cube.
Wow. Look at that.
Still looks good, man.
It is outstanding. I mean, it's amazing.
But like again, like why doesn't GM go to like real Volt owners and go, so you bought the car, you got a free tank of gas at the dealer, how far have you gone on it? And you say 12,000 miles. I mean,
well, I know that
attention.
I know that I've contacted my salesman at the GM dealership where I purchased it, and he flat out didn't believe me when I was at 10,000 kilometers. So as I've been going through, I've been sending him an update every 2,000 kilometers saying, still on dealer gas. I don't know what's wrong with this car, but I'm still on dealer gas.
It's great.
So it's quite amusing. You know, I really know that this car, depending again on your use case, but this car can work for anybody. And as long as you can plug it in at night, every night you plug it into your wall, you will reduce your gas consumption somewhere between 80 and 90% without even trying. And if you try like me, I've reduced it by 96%.
It's awesome.
Absolutely. It's amazing,
man.
You know, you would think GM would be on that, but
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Well, let's do some shout outs and go home, gentlemen. How about Evan?
I will not be shouting today.
That's why I picked you first.
Out or otherwise.
How about Mark?
Well, if you happen to be in the Woodstock, Ontario area tomorrow evening, we've got a gentleman called Yo-Yo who's coming through with his Model 3 coming down from Toronto, and he's going to be stopping in Woodstock to charge probably about 10 or 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to be down there to meet him and say hello and check out his Model 3 and maybe take some videos and some snapshots. So if you're following us on What Drives Us, the Twitter feed, you'll be able to see that, or the Facebook feed, again, curiously enough, at What Drives Us.
Wow. I love that.
And is he a Canadian resident with the Model 3 or a
No,
US
he's from California. Yeah, and he's been driving across North America. So you can check him out on his Facebook page. You can look up Model 3 Tour on Facebook, and it'll come up with his journey so far.
No tires the other day, I saw.
That's right. That's right. He got to Montreal and realized he might do well to have some snow tires on his car.
Ice.
There's this great video if he's in New Hampshire, I believe, and he steps outside of his car and you hear him swearing because it's so cold.
Oh man. Paul, I bet you have something to talk about.
Just plug my business, Boulder Hybrids. Our website's boulderhc.com. If you're in the mountain state regions, we can fix your hybrid or EV. So check us out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. As always, let's see. We have a few different things. You can find us on Facebook. Oddly enough, we're at facebook.com/whatdrivesus. If you're on Twitter, we love Twitter, and we're at twitter.com. No, we're not. We're at What Drives Us. I mean, we're at twitter.com/whatdrivesus, but it's at What Drives Us. You'd think I never use Twitter, and I use Twitter like constantly. And of course, the big one, YouTube, youtube.com/whatdrivesus. It's all the same, no spaces, nothing weird, just What Drives Us. Look there, subscribe if you would, please, and you'll automatically be notified when we're doing a show or when we post an exciting new review. This week, I'm driving the Genesis G80 Sport. I'm going uptown.
Very nice.
And the Genesis Electus Hyundai?
It is Hyundai's new luxury brand. and it is quite luxurious. I just got it this afternoon. Honestly, I've driven it about 3 miles, so I haven't formed any opinions yet, but it's pretty on the outside. So I'll get to drive it tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. Let's see what else. I want to thank Paul Guzik, Evan Fusco, and Mark Coughlin for taking the time to be on the show this week. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I feel like I'm forgetting something else. As always, thanks to Michael Mannering for our amazing theme music. Visit him, manthing.com. One more plug, youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Check out our reviews and our weekly shows there. Tune in next week and find out what drives us.
Dramatic pause.
Thank you. Got a brain made for radio. I don't even know what that means. See you next week, folks.